Anyone else just a tiny bit sad that we had to cut off from the villains, because man, that arc where we seen the advancement of Shigaraki and the League of Villains and all of that was such a wild ride, and I was loving that cast of characters, seeing them week in and week out and finding out more about Shigaraki's backstory. Don't get me wrong, it's nice to get back to the heroes, I kind of missed them, but at the same time, that was a crazy arc. But yeah, Heroes is back. We're learning where we're going forward with the story. Let's talk about it. Oh yeah, before we talk about it, I just gotta say, Mount Lady. Woo! Yeah, now we can talk about it.
Whether Facebook, Twitter, or the two, make sure to steer clear, cause I'm coming through like...
Okay, so we've officially returned to the hero side of things after months of being on the villain side, which I will not complaining at all. No complaints from me. That arc was incredible. Shigaraki's development, all of that good stuff was awesome, and seeing how dark the story can get. But we returned to the heroes, and honestly, yeah, I kind of missed them. I am going to lie, seeing Class A and the zaniness. It definitely seems as though when it comes to the hero side of things, we get a lot more comedy. Like, comedy kind of left the manga for a while, I ain't gonna lie. Like, with the villains, yeah, you get a joke here or there, a lot more of darker humor, honestly. But to see when we get to the heroes, it definitely fills in a lot of that missed comedy that we don't get with the villains, so can't complain. So the chapter starts off with Todoroki and Bakugo being interviewed, obviously, you know, being heroes and doing little heroic deeds here or there, stopping robbers, all that good stuff is eventually going to get you some media attention, and this chapter showcased that now the heroes got to learn about how to navigate through public perception, because obviously public perception is everything. Some would argue perception is reality. So we got to see how, you know, of course, these young kids that never dealt with the media on that scale deal with it. And I ain't gonna lie, Bakugo, he definitely, desperately needs media training. Homie felt like if he was, you know, an artist off the street that is going to his first Breakfast Club interview and he's messing it up real bad, homie needs media training, because it was so bad they had to cut dude out of the clip. It's like Todoroki's trying to carry it like, nah, we're friends, and he's like, yo, I don't give a rat's ass about this dude, and obviously that's not gonna help his case. And to be honest with you, that's one of the things, like, while Bakugo continues to get stronger and all of that good stuff, he definitely has some stuff to work on in terms of not being looked at as like, yo, you're an asshole, you know what I'm saying? Because, like, as a hero, in order to save people, they need to trust you. And Bakugo doesn't come across as like a nice guy. You'd kind of be scared to let him save you if you think about it, because he's going to save you and call you a dipshit, you know what I'm saying? So definitely shows as well, for me personally, I look at Bakugo as like, while Todoroki is his own person, and he's a nicer kind of person, you know, even when they're talking about what is it as a hero that you stand for, and he's like, I just want to be able to help people and, you know, make people feel relaxed when I come to help them and stuff like that. Bakugo falls more like Todoroki's father, Endeavor. He reminds me of Endeavor, where Endeavor is a scary dude. He may be the #1 hero, and he showed like, yo, I'm gonna save shit regardless, but Endeavor needed some media training, and Bakugo desperately needs some media training. I don't even know. I felt like, what are you doing, fam? You're gonna get Donkey of the Day. And then we get to the interview training, which, yeah, I ain't gonna lie, I'm not the biggest fan when we go from a giant, incredible, dark arc like everything that we have with Giganto Machia, the fight against the Liberation Army, to training this time with the media. But nevertheless, again, it's important on the hero side of things, because when you save people, especially if it's in the daylight, you need to be able to talk to the media. They're going to have questions. The people need to hear your side of things. The people need to be able to trust you and all that stuff. But I just got to say, when it's in midnight, I want to say midnight, and Mount Lady showed up. Fan service, which I wasn't mad at, but Mount Lady, yo. Mount Lady is showing a couple different things. Well, one, Mineta said that she changed a bit. And yeah, maybe she's enjoying the fame that she's getting or whatever. But I think the way she was doing things is showing that despite it's a hit to your dignity, it's a hit to your self-respect in a way, the way she was acting. Nevertheless, that's sometimes you got to put on the mask. Like, it's not only about putting on a costume, you also have to put on a costume personality wise in order to navigate through this shit. But yo, when she showed up, I was like, okay, Mount Lady, I see you. You know what I'm saying? She's showing up backwards just to show that she got some junk in the trunk. I'm like, damn. But again, I think a lot of it is the theatrics that go along with being a hero. It's not just about being a good, kind-hearted person. You need to be able to be, you know, silly, goofy, relatable, all of that stuff that goes into being a public image. You know what I'm saying? You gotta nurture your public image. You gotta be whatever it is that you put on, so to speak, for the public, and that's Mount Lady's thing. Although, I don't know, a little bit too spicy there, you know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't mad at it. And of course, they start practicing the hero interviews. And for starters, it was started off with Todoroki, which Mount Lady, again, like, Mount Lady's personality was really big in this chapter. Like, she's even crushing on Todoroki. It's like, yo, Mount Lady, how old are you? You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, you on some cougar shit right now. Let the boy breathe. In this chapter, it definitely felt as though Horikoshi probably felt like, yo, it's been a while since we've seen the heroes. He totally focused in on the villains, the League of Villains, building him up, which, again, it was desperately needed. I think that it was great for the story. It was perfect timing, all of that good stuff. So, great stuff that he did that, but he probably feels like for people that are just tuning in, people that haven't read it in a while, that he needed to do a reintroduction. So we got to see a lot of the characters again, their special moves, a lot of things. It almost felt like a certain chunk of the chapter was recap. So it wasn't the greatest chapter in the world, to be honest with you. A certain chunk of it did feel like recap, like, oh, this is Todoroki's movesets, this is his name. And then, of course, we got all the other heroes from Class 1A. So it was reintroducing us to things that we kind of already knew. And again, I mean, it was a reminder so that when we move forward, people don't be like, oh, man, it's been a while, I don't forget. So I guess in that respect, is like, okay, now we'll be like, oh yeah, I forgot, yeah, Todoroki does do that move or whatever. So when we get into the real big stuff, we don't just be thinking like, damn, it's been so long since I've seen him. So it was needed in that regard, but at the same time, it's like I didn't really forget those big key elements of like Todoroki's moveset or anybody's. I thought Tokoyami's quote that he had was very nice. I think it was something like, you gotta embrace the darkness in order to shine, something like that. That was pretty cool. But again, aside from that, it really felt like a little bit of a character reintroduction recap, so to speak. Like, hey, in case you forgot, this guy is this guy, that girl is that girl. So nothing in those little parts that was too needed in a sense, and not like, oh, it's a necessity. It was more so like the comedy is what drove those parts of it. Bakugo acting silly, even again when he does slightly better when he gives his interview, but you could tell that that's going to be him. He's going to be an asshole hero that maybe people won't like that much, but they're going to have to respect them. Similar to, if you look at it, Endeavor, it's not like Endeavor changed, and now Endeavor's like, yeah, man, we can do it all together. We just got to be nice to each other. Like, Endeavor ain't changed. Bakugo don't need to change that much. He just needs to be able to navigate to the point where he doesn't look completely like, you're an asshole. I don't want you saving me. Stay away, fam. And I guess a little tidbit is you can see more and more that Todoroki, of course, has accepted his fire side when he did that fire move. And he's like, well, it's nothing compared to his father's, but still. So it's just showing that, what we already knew. He's developed past hating Endeavor. He developed past, like, not wanting to use that side of him because it was just, the resentment that he had for the torture that his father put him through. But I guess it also shows what Endeavor recently did, becoming the #1 hero in that big fight he had with the Nomu. Probably made Todoroki feel even less of like, oh, I don't want to be anything like him, because he's seen his father be noble. He's seen the changes in his father, so it's going to make him change and be like, well, I don't need to be like that anymore then. If my father is being more righteous, he made mistakes in the past, I don't need to shut out that side anymore. So that's probably another thing in his head. And then it was Deku that kind of gave us some, I guess, info in a way, some new stuff, because for starters, before we even get into that, the 8-bit looking like a Minecraft character, hilarious. See, it shows that they may get stronger, they may learn new quirks. Obviously, Deku now having the potential of having 7 quirks is freaking insane or whatever, but there's still certain parts that it shows why they're rookies, why they're not full-blown hero. While Todoroki, he doesn't understand things when, like certain nuances and how to, navigate through talking to people, in terms of he's just naive about things and he's a little silly. Bakugo's an asshole. Deku is a nervous wreck. So these are the obstacles that they have to come across, which I'm imagining whatever's to come, they're going to have some media interviews at the end of all this. So this is the setup now, foreshadowing that they're going to have to be able to talk. And I think we'll see a triumphant change from now to when they actually do some real interviews after catastrophe happens and Deku has to talk and he won't be nervous anymore. And it also, the thing where we got some info is that, so Deku's been working a bit. Now, I mean, granted, and I got a funny story for that, it's just a bloop. It was funny because he was getting all deep into it, like, oh, it's not taking control of me, it's under lock and key, and you know what I'm saying, now it's just that I bring it out and I'm working on it, similar to how I was using small percentages of all for, or one for all. So in that regard, it's like, okay, we got some advancement, and then he just does a tiny bloop, which was freaking hilarious. But the funny thing is, he was so proud of himself despite everybody looking at him like, that's it. And I remember a funny story one time, I was like, oh man, excited about getting some views on a video, and it wasn't even all that many views or whatnot. It's like, sometimes when you do videos about certain things, they don't do as well as other topics that are more mainstream or whatever. But I remember being really excited and be like, yo, and my niece shut me down. She was like, That's not a lot of views, you know that, right? So that's kind of how I felt when I was watching that. I related it away to when Deku did the little bloop. But again, it shows that he's getting a handle on these quirks. So one by one, he's going to slowly knock them out the park. I mean, it's a small bloop now. Maybe by the end of this arc, he'll have it somewhat down packed to be able to use not only the, all for one, or I keep saying one for all powers, but also this new quirk that he got from, the predecessors of all for one, or one for all. I keep saying it backwards, damn it. And then towards the end of the chapter, we get All Might. He looks tired as hell because he was putting together a manual, a guide, so with all the notes that he has so that Deku can navigate through these quirks, basically giving all the information on the predecessors to, one for all, and kind of just having it set so Deku could study it. Obviously, Deku is going to use it and probably benefit greatly again to go through this arc. Again, I'm imagining everything that was set up with this chapter is for the end of this arc. Whatever is about to go down, if there's a big battle or whatnot, Deku's going to be able to use this quirk better. They're all going to be better at their interviews after they go through one more traumatic experience. And yeah, it was just like planting seeds for later on. And it seems as though internships are restarting soon, so we'll probably get them all going on some separate missions, not to have, all the cast together. Hopefully we get some dark stuff. Hopefully we get some good stuff. It don't even got to be dark. Just something really solid action, like training for interviews, whatever. It was a reintroduction chapter. It wasn't bad. It was just like, okay, we're getting back into the swing of things with the heroes right in time for school starting for the kiddos as well. So I'm kind of curious what you guys thought of this chapter. For starters, how did you feel about Mount Lady showing that mountain? I was like, yo! Also, what do you think about Deku kind of getting a grasp of this? So you think by the end of this upcoming arc, he's going to be able to not master, but use these powers at great length without, self-destructing. He seems to have some kind of grasp of it. And how do you feel revisiting the heroes again? It's been a while, we was with the villains for a bit. It's kind of needed, but not needed in a way. I remember everything about these casts, of course. I remember everything about the characters, but maybe some people, they want a refresher, and maybe the author just felt like, yeah, it's time to remind people who they are. Although I don't see anybody saying, hey, who are these characters? I don't remember them. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's whatevs. It was a cool chapter. It was reintroduction, and we got something out of it, that Deku has made some type of progress on learning that new quirk. And your overall thoughts and expectations for the next arc? Where do you think we're going to go with all of this? Who do you think is going to be the next big villain? I'm looking forward to seeing what Horikoshi got in store for us, because I'm imagining whatever it is, it's going to be very grand scale if he's planting the seeds for these interviews, which means it's going to be on the news, it's going to be out there. They're probably going to come back to this and be better at, answering these questions in the media. Maybe Bakugo won't be that big of an asshole, maybe Todoroki will understand nuance, and maybe Deku won't be what's going on? But that's all I have for this one, though. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Hit that bell to get all notifications. Make sure you hit all notifications so that you don't miss out on a video, whether it's My Hero Academia or any of the other stuff I talk about. And if you want to follow any of my other social media, links in the description below. I'm Forever World, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life, boy. Have an awesome day. Peace in. Peace in that Mount Lady, I'm just saying.
Enjoy the next ride, but I was the best ride. But I hope you know that